I want a real unique question. How do you succeed and thrive in the last recession? I'm a realtor, survived the last one. I feel like great opportunities are coming. Any suggestions? Let's call this one. Philip, I'm calling you. Get your phone ready, buddy. 562-338. I'm calling Philip. Philip, you're probably the last call. Okay, Patrick, is this the right time to launch my team management and video conference and product? Interesting. Let me think about that.
Hello, Philip.
Philip, how you doing?
Pat.
This is Pat.
Pat, you're the man.
My man, how you doing?
Woo!
So,
How
Philip,
you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Where are you based out of?
I'm in the South Bay area, San Pedro, California.
San Pedro. Wow. So is San Pedro 105 and 405? Or is it 5 freeway? Which one's San Pedro?
110.
710.
We're at the end of the 110.
You're at the end of the 110.
110, 405.
I used to run so many appointments in San Pedro, and I used to go to that one place that has military bases. What is that military base? The city starts with the letter S, and it's right by San Pedro. Not San Clemente.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, anyways, I used to go there all the time. I had some good friends right around that area. One guy's name was Clarence. I was always with him. So tell me, man, what's on your mind? What are you thinking?
So, all the doom and gloom out there, I feel positive about everything that's going on. I'm not trying to fall into the news, and I feel like the last recession, I was so young in the business of real estate, and it was just trying to survive. This time, I want to thrive. So I just want to hear, what did you do in the last recession to stay motivated and grind and actually thrive during those times?
You know, it's amazing you say that. This morning, I'm reading a book, and this book is by one of the best private equity guys in the world. The best private equity guys in the world. He's done some big deals, very big deals. I'm talking GE deals, $30 billion deals. This guy goes back, he's in his early 80s, so he's been around, and he's done a lot of deals with people that have been, big names over the last 50 years. He said, if you can grab my notes, man, if we have that notes, I had these notes right here. Man, if I have those notes, see what it is over here. Take a look at these over here. Yes. Right on there. See if it's that. If you give it to me, I'll find it. He said something very interesting that I think everybody here, you give it to me, I'll find it. All right, here, let me see if I can find it. All right, so here we go. Just a powerful message he gave. If I can't find it, it should be right here. Yep, we're getting closer. There it is. I found it. Okay, I cannot believe I found it, but I found it. Okay. So I'm reading this book, and he's talking about all these things that he went through with his career coming up. Yale, Harvard. He fought Harvard because he dropped out of Harvard saying it's a bunch of BS. All you guys do is the same classes, the same thing. You just get more money from people, and he went against the dean, and the dean was ticked off at him. How dare you say stuff like this about me? Because, Harvard's a very political type of place, so you don't say anything about Harvard. And he called him out. And he goes into a career, and he starts working. And when he starts working, this is somebody that wants to be somebody. At 30 years old, I think he did a $499 million contract and started making a couple $1 million for himself. And out of the $499 million contract that he did, he made like a $2 million or $3 million on that deal, and started winning, started making some name. Then he started a business with $200,000, and then eventually he decides to build this company. When he worked at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, I used to work at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter years ago. He says they used to hire in twos. They hired me in twos. It was me and another girl named Sol. When they did our interview, he's telling this story about how they used to sit there, and we would hire the person that was more cooperative more than the person that was willing to beat every one of his teammates at all cost. He says the reason why we hired more cooperative people is because cooperative people didn't lose deals. They were able to get deals done. And other people were so competitive, they would sometimes rub people the wrong way, they would lose deals. So we like the cooperative guys. And it says, finally, when we wanted to start our own company, we made a list of what kind of people we wanted. Here's what I learned. This is his words.
Yeah.
If you build a company with eights, people who are eights when it comes down to work and leadership, he says eights just do stuff that you tell them to do. Here's what I think you should do. And they go do it because they're an 8. 8s follow orders, okay? He said 9s execute strategies better than everybody else. So an 8, you can tell him what to do. He goes and does it. 9s, you tell them what to do. They execute the strategy better than everybody else. So they still execute it better than everybody else. They're better than 8s. 8s will get the job done, but 9s execute it better than everybody else. He says you can build a very good company with 9s. Then he says at the end, he says, but 10s sense problems, design solutions, and take the business to new directions without being told to do so. Let me say this one more time. 10s sense problems, design solutions, and take the business to new directions without being told to do so. So what does that mean? Look, today, those who are 10s and decide to act like 10s, you're going to hear about heroes 10 years from now you've never heard before. You know how sometimes somebody all of a sudden overnight becomes a hero and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what did he come out of? What did she come out of? Behind closed doors, he or she had 10 tendencies of somebody who's a 10 leader, and nobody was watching what they were doing. They were making the right pivots, they were making the right adjustments, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they are who they are. I started my insurance agency in 09, October of 09. September 23rd is the day I made a decision at 3:30 in the morning. I'm starting my own company. I didn't wait. I resigned and we started the company, right? 2008, Mark tanks 38%. When I said, here's what I'm going to be doing, my wife called my dad. Then she called my friends. And everybody called me. And they came and visited me. This is what my dad said. My dad says, you can't leave right now. I said, why? You just got married 3 months ago. So what do you mean? You just got married 3 months ago and the economy's not good. You want to start a company right now after the economy took a hit and you just got married 3 months ago. You promised this woman you're going to take care of her. I said, Dad, I'm sorry. She decided to marry me. She's known how I've been since June of 02. If she didn't know from June of 02 till June of 2009 how I am, that's her problem. She already knows how I am. What do you want me to do about it? So she's marrying me. I'm doing this. I'm making this decision. My friends called me. They said, Pat, you're already making good money. Why are you making this kind of a decision? But we started a company and I started working. Behind closed doors, it was constant initiative being taken, constant. It was initiative, unique ways of doing things, reading everything I could devour on. How did other people make it during market crash? What kind of companies came out of a Great Depression? What kind of companies came out of the last 1981 when the interest rates were so high? What strategies did they use? I did so much research, intel, and behind closed doors trying to go find new ways of doing things that nobody else wanted to do, which the insurance industry historically was all predominantly men. I went to women. Historically, insurance industry was all Caucasian. I went Latino and, multicultural. Historically, insurance agents were all in their 50s and 60s. I went to 20s and their 30s. And they say, you're out of your mind. No way in the world this is going to take place. This is what we did. And then I mapped out. I put a map and I said, if I'm a general and I'm going to war and I'm right now in California, I'm all the way on this side. How am I going to build a national agency? I moved one of my guys from California all the way to Florida. Then I moved one of my guys from California to Houston. Then I moved one of our guys all the way to Chicago. And then from there, things started expanding. And then I went in from California, Florida in, Illinois in, Texas up, if that makes sense. We went in, and then that was the strategy. I said in the next 10 years, we'll be in every single state. And we grew from 66 to 14,000 agents in 49 states. And now we have 130 offices, nearly 500,000 square feet of office space. And that happened because there was a strategy being put together behind closed doors because I aspire to be a 10. Whoever today aspires to be a leader that thinks like a 10, like he's talking about, I cannot even tell you what the future looks like for you. I can't even explain it to you. Let me tell you what I mean by I can't even explain it to you. Some of you are going to have things you're going to experience over the next 3, 5, 10 years where you only thought was possible in movies, not real life. You only thought was possible in books you read about with other people. Right now, with everybody being afraid, you better believe behind closed doors, there's a group of people right now that are saying, the world is going to know my last name because how I'm reacting today. While everybody else is scared, I'm preparing for massive growth in the next 12, 24 months. If you've never seen the movie Now, what is the Count of Monte Cristo? If you've never seen the Count of Monte Cristo, you ever seen the movie Count of Monte Cristo?
I have. Great movie.
Great movie. This is the time where many Monte Cristos are going to be born. Many. Behind closed doors, the guy's in jail, in prison, meets a guy, starts teaching him philosophy, starts teaching him the right books. And then all of a sudden, he comes out, applies it all, builds a castle, puts the craziest party together. And the man that put him in jail, that took his girl away from him, he invites him to the party with the wife. The wife falls back in love with him. The girl falls back in love with him. And then he has the feud with the guy. You know how many Monte Cristos are being born right now? Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many Monte Cristos are being born right now. I mean, it's endless. So, but the only person that knows this is the person that's willing to pay the price today behind closed doors without getting any attention. That person is not going to get attention for many years. Listen, when I was creating content, I told myself one day, behind closed doors, I'm creating content, stacks and stacks of folders. Can you bring those folders here right now? Bring me all those 3 folders. Behind closed doors, I'm typing notes, I'm typing notes, I'm typing notes, I'm typing notes. All 3 of them, just bring them up. These are stacks and stacks of these folders that I have. I have a whole closet of these things, right? These notes, I cannot believe I'm doing this. These notes go back so many years. I mean, if I show you what stuff I have here, but nobody had any clue how I was when I was saving these notes. I'd watch a video, I'd take the notes, and I would say, oh my gosh, this was great. I would add every single note. I would read stuff, notes after notes after notes after notes after notes. I wasn't born with the way I'm thinking right now. Behind closed doors, I decided I'm going to develop PBD's brain. I'm going to develop PBD's mind constantly, over and over and over again. By the way, when I was doing this, guess how much credit I was getting? This much. Guess how many people knew who this guy was? This many. Just friends that partied with me. Just people that work with me. But behind closed doors, constantly, I'm going to study the next thing. Constantly studying the next thing. Constantly studying the next thing. I kept putting all of this stuff together, knowing one day the opportunities around the corner for this guy named Patrick Bet-David, who nobody was paying attention to as a kid in high school coming up. So he joined the army, the underdog. And the next thing you know, things turn. What's the moral of the story here? Listen, man, if you've ever wanted to be a hero, and if you ever wanted your family to be proud of who their son is, who their daughter is, who their father is, who their mother is, who their sibling is, who their friend is, because everyone is right now distracted with fear, and you want to recreate yourself, because as the saying goes, sometimes you have to disappear and reappear. There's never been a time in the last 40 years, never been a time better today than to disappear and reappear in a way that no one's seen you before. Never. New habits, new thinking, new shift, new way to process issues, new way you solve problems. All of that stuff. Today is the best time. So right now, yesterday, I told my wife, what are you thinking about, babe? I said, I'm thinking about Christmas. She says, what do you mean? I said, I'm so excited about Christmas. Why are you so excited about Christmas? I said, honestly, I think this is going to be the best Christmas ever. Well, why is this Christmas going to be the best Christmas ever? Because everyone's looking forward to it. Everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, 2020's out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you go to Christmas, you're like, wow, 2019 was a great year. I made $28 million bucks. You know, look what we did. But this year's going to be like, I can't wait for Christmas. Let's open up presents. Let's wake up. Let's go play with the snow. It's so awesome. Just thinking about Christmas excites me. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm excited about Christmas. I'm excited about what the future looks like. I'm excited about sitting there telling my kids this story. Hey, I know you guys had no clue. You were 8, 6, and 3. Guess what? You went through one of the craziest times in the history of America. Yeah. I said this on a webinar an hour and a half ago. An hour and a half ago, I said this on a webinar. I said, look, I was talking to a doctor, and I asked him a question. I said, let me ask you a question. How much does the blood, you know, the blood that somebody's blood is boiling, how much of someone's blood that's boiling has to do with when parents conceived their child? And the doctor says, what do you mean? I said, let me explain to you what I mean. So just think about it. If you see a kid and you see him, you're like, wow, what a calm kid. Maybe when the parents conceived their children, when he was conceived, life was pretty peaceful. Parents went to church. God, Heavenly Father, everything's good. Normal life, regular life. Everything is pretty solid. Nothing crazy. The kid is born. He's like, hi, Dad. How are you? Goo goo gaga. You're awesome. I love you so much, Mommy. You're so amazing. He nurses very calm, doesn't bite anything. He eats the food. Yeah, he poops and it smells like crap, but he's okay. He's kind of pulling it off and he's being a good kid. And then you have this other kid that is born during an era where there's war. The day mom and dad conceived, there's a war going on. Dad was ticked off and pissed off at the same time. All those emotions went into that kid. What is that kid going to turn into? That's a scary looking kid right there, right? What does that tell you? Today? Oh my gosh, if you get by today with these times, I just want to tell you, anybody who gets through these strange times, your blood's going to be boiling in ways that fast forward 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, the world is going to meet many new heroes that were born today. When I say, I'm not just talking about if you go conceive a baby right now and say, hey, you want to go quarantine and chill right now? I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about the people right now that are sitting around saying, I'm about to make history and no one's going to recognize this guy because 3 years, 5 years from now, behind closed door, there's so much fire in my belly right now. The world is going to know what I'm going to do in my life. Instagram, I'm going to shut you down and come back because I'm running out of time.